So this is an old video that you're going to watch. I started filming in November 2023 and it took me a year to post. So these are all archived clips. You know, some of my thoughts might have changed, some might stay the same, but I'd like to post them because it's part of the journey and it's important to me and they matter to me. And it shows the journey and shows different thoughts I was going through compared to now, I guess. But yeah, enjoy the video. Peace. Sunday night, end of the weekend, Monday morning's tomorrow, back to work. All I can say is another great weekend, another absolutely fantastic weekend. Didn't do too much, but just full of love, full of joy, full of learning. I tell you what, last night probably had one of the biggest lessons or biggest realizations that I think I've ever had, if I'm honest. And the thing is, it all came from watching a series on telly. And that is seriously how I sort of have my realizations. Like, I am so lucky that that is the way. Because if I had to give myself homework to sort myself out, it would be stick on a bunch of films, bunch of series, and you'll expose issues. Probably issues isn't the right word. It would expose sort of deeper realizations and acknowledging sort of behaviours and patterns and stuff like that. You know, when you watch, I think it was 6 or 7, I think it was 6 episodes of a series all in one line and go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, that to me is healthy sometimes. And the thing is, I've not done it in so long that it really was just powerful for me. And the realization that I come to was that due to certain things that happened in primary school, which is crazy, primary school, that I've sort of developed this block in life of taking action. There's always this, for me, there's always this tipping point of when something actually happens. But before that tipping point, it's so steady, it's so slow until that tipping point happens, and then it's just intense and it's just so exactly what I want, which is funny. Or should I say exactly what I need? And that tipping point, there's like a block at the end, just before I get past, just before I go through that door. And the block I've sort of realised is embarrassment, which I would never have guessed. It took so many years to work out what that block is. I mean, I'll be honest, at one point I never thought I would just sort of figure out what that block was. But it's embarrassment. And it's not necessarily like, it's going to be hard to describe a situation that's going to be accurate. But it's not like, you know, someone stands up and embarrasses me and I'm publicly embarrassed. Like, that's not going to like set me off and make me feel awful. But it's like, if I make the effort, if I put myself out on the line and then it's embarrassing, that's what sort of, would I call it a fear? Probably would. It's probably what I fear the most. And it all comes from, it sounds so silly. I mean, when I figured it out, it's not, you know, I laugh. I laugh at myself. I laugh at my younger self and say, you know what I mean? You're just a kid. What a silly kid. In a loving way, not a negative talk sort of way. And it's just love. It's just the first girl I've ever fancied when I was a kid in primary school, and just being sort of let down by that person. And you can't even say, oh, it's for this reason, or because of your personality or your actions. You're not this, you're not that, because it's primary school. You're literally a little kid. But I think it's absolutely amazing how something so small, well, not small, but something so obvious that nothing's wrong, how something like that just has impacted my life and will continue to impact my life. I'm not saying just because I've got the realization that now I've sussed it. It just helps to know what the block is, so I can talk to myself and target that sort of area. So essentially, I fancied a girl, and then I found out she fancies me back. And then obviously the most daunting thing as a little kid is you got to make a move. So then you make a move, it's all going smoothly. I think that's how it went. It's hard to remember, it's you know what I mean? I'm a little kid, it's hard to remember, but it's all gone smoothly. And then at one point, you know what I mean, you get told that they don't want to be with you anymore, and it just sort of shattered me as a kid. And pair that with, which there's nothing wrong with this as parents, but because everyone does it, I'll probably do it. It's just so natural, because it is so sort of funny to tease love for kids, because it's probably because they don't really understand what's happening or anything like that. They don't see actually what this is. So I also had embarrassment when I came home, and I've got parents that tease you, for liking girls or kissing girls as a kid. And so then my heart's sort of been broken. I know it's dramatic because I'm only a kid, but at the time I've got, you know what I mean? When you're a child, you are really sensitive to things. You really do take it personally as a kid. If you read Gabor Mate's books or any podcast with him on, he talks about how sensitive a child actually is to anything, and how they feel it so personally that it's their fault. So, obviously as a kid I've been heartbroken, and it's my fault. I remember begging to God to keep me with this girl. Because I'm a kid, I believed in God. Don't believe in God now. Not the sort of the Christ and all that, and religion and stuff like that, I don't believe. But that's another topic. Anyway, so, I'm absolutely devastated. And not only that, I can't go to anyone and speak about it, because when I come home, I'll get teased about it, which makes me feel embarrassed about the full situation, and embarrassed of how I feel, and then shameful about how I am and how I'm sort of feeling, which it's no one's fault. You know what I mean? Parents don't know what's going on. You can't protect a child like that. And I am grateful of exactly how it's gone, because it's made me who I am. It's a part of me, and I'm so grateful that it happened like that. And I can look back, and even when it happens now, and I sort of get that fear, it's, everyone's got to have something that they've got to overcome, and it's just something that you have to overcome. It's a challenge in life. So I don't blame anyone for acting a certain way. It's so natural just to tease a young person, a young kid. about stuff like that. And, parents aren't going to really realise the damage that would cause. Or I don't want to use the word damage because it's sort of a negative word, but just sort of the path that it caused, really. So because I've got that, I've got no one to talk to, and I feel embarrassed and sort of shame, and essentially I just don't feel good enough. Whereas it's intensified as a kid, because, you know what I mean? Let's be honest, the kids, you don't know what's going on in the world. And don't get me wrong, I'm still young now. I understand that for the older people that we're watching and saying, you are still just a kid. Yeah. But, primary school, you don't know what's going on in the world, for sure. So something like that, it really made me sort of be sad on my own, to really isolate myself, and because I've also got past that as a kid. I've dealt with that, whatever mechanism I've used to deal with that sort of, I want to say trauma, but it's not necessarily trauma, but that negative thing happening, whatever, I figured out a way to deal with that. And then I've gone, okay, I don't need to talk about it and tell anyone, because I've already dealt with it. As a kid, you think you've done it. You think you think you're in the right. But, yeah. Well, what I should have done is, I should have come home and told my mum and dad, I'm heartbroken. You know what I mean? I don't feel good enough. Imagine if a kid come home and told you that, what that parent's reaction would be. I don't care what parent you are. I don't care if you're the worst parent in the world. You're feeling sorry for that kid and you're giving that kid love. And like I said, it's not any parent's fault if stuff like that happens, and it's hard to notice. But it is also important to happen in life. Like I said, I don't blame anyone. It's not, you know what I mean? It's nothing damaging to me. It's important that it happens. But yeah, it was just a realization that I had, that when I do struggle to talk, it's that feeling of embarrassment that I get. I've then clocked on after this realization, and I've noticed that my negative thoughts go towards having the feeling of being embarrassed. Embarrassed about myself. It's not like a massive public embarrassment. It's just feeling just any sort of embarrassment, really. It is very situational, and it is in my head, because I could be in a big group and I'm confident in myself that I'm not going to get embarrassed. No one's going to make me feel embarrassed by doing something to me, really, in that sort of sense of now growing up in a group. No one can really embarrass me and make me feel awful. But I can make myself feel embarrassed by doing things or not doing things, especially with my thoughts. And that's sort of my hurdle that I have to get over, is getting past that embarrassment. And the solution is telling myself and reassuring myself that you don't have to be embarrassed. You are good. You are going to be good. Or if I'm not good, you are going to get good at whatever that hurdle is. When you get past that hurdle, whatever that is, you're going to get good. You got to have belief in yourself, and I do have belief in myself. So so when I get that realization of what that block is, now I know what to target. Now I know what to use to target that now. And it is that self-belief, because that's all embarrassment really is believing in yourself. That goes away. If embarrassment goes away. So that's what embarrassment is. It's the sort of the lack of belief, which is caused by having your heart broken and being let down by, from that girl who then doesn't want to be with me. It's then doesn't give me any belief in myself because I've took it personally and I've gone, there's something wrong with me. You know what I mean? But as an adult now, it's obvious to look back and go, you are just a kid. It's a little primary school romance. You look back at it and you laugh at it and you go, you know what I mean? Why? How? When you look back at it, you go, how has my life been affected for so long because of that thing? That one little thing that everyone looks at now and you'd laugh. You would laugh. I laugh. And I think it's so funny how sensitive life is, especially as children. And I think it's very underestimated how important primary school teachers probably are. Because you've got these people that are really have an effect on your children at a young age. They are, these things stick with them. And I don't know if this is a fact or not, but they're probably the least paid teachers, primary school teachers. Because people probably look at them and say they're probably the lowest skilled, but they've got a lot in their hands, really. Not that teachers could step in for anything, but it's that environment. But yeah, that's sort of the crazy realization that I sort of had was, my fear is embarrassment. And not only that, admitting that to myself, I feel embarrassed about, I feel a bit like, God, I've got to now, I'm relying on what other people think of me, which I hate and I really don't want to do. But, you are affected. You can't hide that you are affected. You are actually affected by that. I don't want to be, and I try my damn hardest not to be. And I've got thicker skin than most, but some things do get through. And I think that's the same with all people. We do try and block it out. Whether it's the right thing to do or not, I'm not sure. But you also can't be sensitive and every little comment you sort of get offended at. That's what's going wrong in the world today. That's what the slow start is, that everyone's getting offended by little small things. So yeah, embarrassment. It's funny because I'm clocking everything now, all the thoughts, I'm like, that's embarrassment. Like, it all stems from that one thing that I can remember. Maybe there was a snowball effect after that. But it is crazy that something as a kid affects me now. But it does. Nothing serious. Depends how you look at it. It's nothing. When I say it's nothing serious, it's no serious struggle. I wouldn't say there are harder and worse struggles out there to have on your conscience, really, growing up. But nonetheless, it's still there, and it's just interesting to know now. But yeah, that's all I got to say. So, peace.